If you're watching this, you've probably already left, or you're trying to, and you're wondering why it still hurts this much. That's what recovery from narcissistic abuse actually looks like. Not clean, not linear, and almost nothing like what people tell you it should feel like. Here are 7 signs you're recovering, even when it doesn't feel like it. Sign 1. You're questioning everything, and that's actually good. One of the first things narcissistic abuse takes from you is your ability to trust your own judgment. You were told so many times that you were wrong, too sensitive, imagining things, that eventually you stop trusting yourself entirely. So when you start questioning, really questioning, whether what happened to you was real, whether it was as bad as you remember, whether you're overreacting, that's not a sign that you're confused. That's a sign your mind is waking back up. The questioning feels awful. It's supposed to. You're rebuilding a relationship with your own perception that was systematically dismantled. That takes time, and it starts with exactly this discomfort. Sign 2. You feel angry, and you can't explain why. A lot of people expect recovery to feel like sadness, like grief, like missing the person, and sometimes it does. But one of the most common and least expected signs of recovery is rage. Anger that seems to come out of nowhere. Anger at small things. Anger at yourself for staying. Anger at them. Anger at people who had nothing to do with it. This anger is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that you're finally feeling something you weren't allowed to feel during the relationship. Narcissistic abuse requires its victims to constantly manage, suppress, and minimize their own emotional responses. The anger you're feeling now is the backlog. Let it come. Don't perform calm you don't feel. The anger means you've started to understand that what happened to you wasn't okay. Sign 3. The good memories hurt more than the bad ones. This one surprises people. You'd think the painful memories would be the hardest to deal with. The arguments, the silences, the moments where you were made to feel small. But for a lot of survivors, it's the good memories that are the most difficult. The early days, the version of them that made you feel chosen, the moments where everything felt real and right and like it was going to be okay. Those memories hurt because they remind you of what you were trying to hold on to, and because they make you doubt your own narrative. If it was that good sometimes, maybe you're wrong about the rest. You're not wrong. Intermittent reinforcement, the cycle of warmth and cruelty that defines narcissistic relationships, is designed to produce exactly this confusion. The good moments were real. They were also a mechanism. Both things can be true. Sign 4. You're starting to recognize the pattern in other relationships. Something shifts when you've processed enough. You start to notice things you would have missed before. The friend who always makes conversations about themselves. The colleague whose apologies never quite address what they did. The new person you're dating who moves a little too fast, who flatters a little too intensely. Your pattern recognition has been recalibrated, not into paranoia, into clarity. This can feel uncomfortable. Sometimes it means seeing things in relationships you didn't want to see. Sometimes it means pulling back from people who felt safe before. But it's a sign that something fundamental has changed in how you read people. That change was paid for at a high cost. It's also one of the most durable things you'll take out of this experience. Sign 5. You're grieving a person who is still alive. One of the most disorienting parts of recovering from narcissistic abuse is that the grief doesn't follow the rules. The person is still alive. You might still see them. They may have moved on publicly, visibly, in ways that feel designed to be seen, and yet you're grieving, genuinely grieving, in a way that feels disproportionate, inexplicable, hard to justify to people who don't understand. What you're grieving is not just the relationship. You're grieving the person you thought they were, the future you thought you were building, the version of yourself that existed before the relationship changed you. That grief is real. It deserves to be taken seriously, and it doesn't resolve on the timeline other people expect it to. Sign 6. You're beginning to draw lines you couldn't before. At some point, quietly, maybe without even fully noticing, you start saying no to things. Small things first. A request that would have had you scrambling to comply before, a comment you would have let slide, a situation where you would have automatically made yourself smaller. You don't. Not dramatically, not with a speech. You just don't. This is one of the clearest indicators of real recovery. The internal reference point has shifted. You've started to use your own comfort as a data point rather than an obstacle to be managed. The lines won't be perfect. You'll still cross your own boundaries sometimes. You'll still feel guilt that doesn't make logical sense. But the fact that the lines exist, that you can feel them, is significant. Sign 7. You're starting to be curious about who you are now. This one comes later, and when it arrives, it's one of the clearest signs that something fundamental has changed. For a long time in recovery, the primary relationship is with the past, with what happened, with who you were in the relationship, with the question of how you got there. But at some point, the orientation shifts. You start to wonder, not with dread, but with something closer to curiosity, who you are now, what you want, what kind of relationships you actually want to build, what version of your life is still available to you. That curiosity is the beginning of something, not closure. Closure is a myth, but a genuine forward movement that doesn't require the past to be resolved first. If you're there, even partially, even just occasionally, that matters. Recovery from narcissistic abuse is not a straight line. It's not a destination. And it doesn't look like the version of healing that gets sold in motivational content. It looks like confusion and anger and grief and small shifts and occasional clarity and long stretches of nothing changing at all. And then one day something is different. Not everything, just something. That's enough to keep going. Subscribe for more videos on psychology, manipulation, and protecting your mind. I'll see you next week.